Hello, my love. Welcome. Today, I'm going to take you through the secret to 10-hour work weeks while making money with ease using neuromanifestation. So, I'm very much someone that needs to understand things using science, logic, and as much as this neuro as manifestation, the word can feel a little bit woo. Here, I will be explaining it, breaking it down, backing it up by neuroscience because if that's how I understand it, I can appreciate that that's how you would like to understand it as well. Okay, so I'm so excited because, and before I dive in, I want to share with you some really important client testimonials because just so you can get your brain on board and understand that this stuff actually truly, truly works. So, for example, I've had a client who came to me and she was doing 12 to 14K a month, very inconsistent. And then 13 or 14 days into October, she did 20K. She signed a 70K client, and this client made 39K for the month and now is projected to make 50K, right? Things like issues in the shoulder and rashes on the hand and eye and swelling eyes. This stuff works even on your health and in your body because the foundations of your business is you. If your health, if your energy levels are not up to par, you cannot serve at your highest level, right? So this stuff even changes how your body responds to stress, the physical ailments, anything you're experiencing. It clears it all so quickly. Things like no blockage around anxiety, feeling like the creative juices are flowing, being able to transmute them. And even this client saying, I don't know how, but your techniques really work. I've tried so hard in the past to force myself into change and then realized it was because of some subconscious blocks. Now, this client has gone to therapy for years and years and years. She even took medication. And just in 3 sessions together, her life completely changed. She got exactly what she was after and what she wanted. I feel a little bit crazy saying all of this, but it's really true. I'm impressed. So before I go on, my name is Renee. I am a subconscious mind specialist. I really help entrepreneurs like yourself work less while making more, achieve utmost inner peace, and make money with ease. Because if you're experiencing burnout, if you're experiencing wearing all the hats, that's not sustainable. And so, using this framework, which I'm about to teach you, is going to allow you to have more spaciousness within your days and allow you to just fall back in love with your business. And this video really is for you if you've had your business for a little while now and looking for a more sustainable and easy way to scale. So maybe you've made 10K, 20K, 30, 40K months before or 50K months, but you were never able to sustain it or hold it. And so you drop back down. Maybe you had a 2K month, and so it's very inconsistent. And we don't want that. We want sustainability in our business, and we want to make sure that we can hold it all, right? This is all comes down back again to your health and you. So currently, you desire to wake up knowing the exact steps that you need to take in order to move the needle forward for the future of your business. So this is what I mean by clarity, knowing having direction. And perhaps you're working 40 to 50 hours a week on doing random tasks. You are spinning your wheels. You're most likely wearing all the hats in your business. And you've tried journaling affirmations like I love money and money loves me. Maybe you've tried YouTube meditations. You've done talk, you have a therapist, you do talk therapy, but yet you still feel overwhelmed and exhausted and like there is no break. If that's you, you need to stick around. You really would love to finally rewire a new money story into you. Just create the money and the business of your dreams, work half the amount of hours, so like 20 hours a week, while still generating the same amount or even more revenue. So ultimately, you want this spaciousness in your days. You want to have the time to spend with your kids, to wake up and do what you want to do rather than running around like a headless chicken and really just allow yourself to buy a flight to Mexico because I like to do that. That's why I put it in there any day of the week. Really strengthen your health, your body, and fall back in love with yourself, your life, your business, right? Now, this video is not for you if you are just starting out. So, like, you're a very new entrepreneur and you don't really know what's like, you've never really dabbled in strategy. You don't know what you're doing, kind of, and you're just wanting to go from where you are right now and then going into having a business. It's also not for you if you're not willing to take responsibility for your life, because it's 2024 and we're no longer playing victim. We are the creators of our reality. This is also not a get rich quick scheme. So I don't play in that realm, and I'm sure you don't either. And you understand that this is a long term game, that we are in this for ourselves and for the longevity of our business, and committing to that. It's also not for you if you've never experienced burnout or hustling in your masculine. So, as a woman, we in this society nowadays, we are taught and we've placed our worth on the amount of hours that we work, especially if you've come from a corporate background. That's exactly what you've been taught how to do. And I'm going to change that all around for you today. Now, it's really not your fault, because especially the coaching industry, if you've ever like invested into big amounts into strategy, into courses, and you've been taught that that is it's what you need to do, but you've been misled. And that's why I've created this video for you today, so that you can really have a clearer understanding and how to actually change that at a deep cellular level, and have the fast and permanent change that you're after. So I'm very excited. Okay, so you have likely tried its Exoginji courses, maybe investing 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50K in business masterminds. You've read endless personal development books like The Power of Now and Atomic Habits, and you've tried talk therapy. Now, the problem with that is that you try to intellectualize your problems, and the problem never actually was the strategy or learning more on what actions you need to take, or more certifications that you need to do, or more things that you need to learn. It really lied within your energetic body and your subconscious alignment. And what does that mean? I will get into it in a moment. So if you've tried to intellectualize your problem by reading books and podcasts, and you are still working at a very conscious level, which fails to target change at the root cause. So think about you looking at a plant. You're like fixing the plant, the leaf, rather than going into the soil and the roots of the problem. Okay, so you're thinking that you already know manifestation techniques or how the subconscious mind works, but I can guarantee you that this isn't anything like you've ever seen before, because maybe you feel fear of starting something new or trying something new, or your brain's like, no, or the ego is saying that you've already done it before. I get it. I have never told my clients, I've never, ever in my life been on a coaching session and tell them to journal, meditate, or practice more gratitude. Okay, the truth is that this work runs deep into the core of your being, your body, your blood, and your subconscious mind. When I say blood, I mean your genetics. Okay, and that is true manifestation. But if you did think that you already knew manifestation, and that you already knew everything about the psychology and the subconscious mind, you still wouldn't be where you are right now, spinning your wheels. And you also wouldn't be continuing watching this video. So a little bit of why you should listen to me. Well, I have a background in psychology, and I decided to pursue my own business. I decided to do my own thing because I found that in talk therapy and counseling, it worked on a very surface level, and I wanted to see human transformation not just reach the mental level, which is it's great and it's huge, but also the physical, the body, the emotional body, and your spiritual health, which all plays a huge role in our well-being, in the foods that you eat, in how you feel, in the money that you attract. It all comes down it's all interconnected. So I understood from a very early on stage that if I wanted to create change fast and permanently, I really had to rewire my subconscious, which is stuff that I couldn't see, which is stuff that I was quite a challenge to reach, because we don't typically know what's in the subconscious because it's subconscious, it's hidden, right? So since then, I've spent the last 5 years really diving into the subconscious mind. I've spent way over $40,000 on learning these modalities, not just learning the modalities, but actually getting people to do them on me, and really changing my own inner state so that I can sit here and really show you how you can do it as well. Right, okay. Really exciting stuff. Myth number one, you have to work hard to make money. Now, if this belief that you run deep in your bones, if it was true, all the Latinos, because I'm currently in Colombia, all the Latinos that work 12 hours a day, 12 hours a day, I'm not even exaggerating, would be rich. I'm sure you've heard this saying many, many times. But if this belief was true, why is Bill Gates or all the really, really rich people in the world, they still have the same amount of hours in the day? They've worked smarter, right? They've tapped into a wealth frequency. So money really comes in and tracks into the frequency at which you vibrate at, rather than the actions that you necessarily take. And I'll explain more in the next few minutes. So stick around. So here's a really good diagram that I've created that I really want to show you, that is going to allow you to have a better understanding of how you are spinning your wheels. So let's say right now you have this subconscious belief, I have to work hard to make the money I want, because you've seen your parents grow up working and slaving away, maybe to a 9 to 5, or maybe to a business, and they were still struggling, and that's just in your bloodline. So you in turn work really hard, you take action 12 hours a day because that's what you believe to be true. Then you cap yourself at an income level because of you only have so many hours in a day that you can work. When you cap yourself there, you burn out or you feel exhausted from your business because you want to make more money, you want to scale, you want to grow, but you cap yourself because there's only so much you can do in a day. And so what happens is that your subconscious mind gets imprinted through repetition and emotion, right? You remember your first heartbreak, but if I asked you, what did you have for breakfast yesterday? You won't remember. Maybe you will. But your subconscious gets imprinted through emotion. So most of your traumatic memories or some of the tougher times in your life, you will remember because there's emotion tied to it. Okay? It activates the emotional part of your brain, the amygdala. Now, your subconscious mind then gets imprinted due to emotional stress, creating the story that it is unsafe to run a business / make money. So if you create this story, it depends if you do or not, then the symptoms may be you want to take a break, maybe you want to procrastinate, or maybe you just don't feel safe to run a business. You might slow down, you might stop it for a little while to kind of figure out what you want, right? So this is then what happens, and then you run the cycle again and again and again and again. So we really want to break the cycle, and we break the cycle by changing the subconscious beliefs first, that is in your brain and in your body. Cool? So myth number 2 is that success is 80% mindset. This is going to ruffle some tailbones, feathers. But mindset is only one piece of the puzzle. You cannot outthink generations of your money beliefs that live in your body and live in your nervous system. For example, if I was to give you $1 million right now, like I transferred, or whatever your money goal is, 10,000, 20,000, 30, and I transferred it all into your bank account, or I just had this stack of cash and I just gave it to you in your hand, how would your body feel? How safe is it to talk about money? How safe is it to hold money? How safe is it to hold success, to hold responsibility? Because if you grow your business to the millions, and that means more responsibility, means more team members, or more responsibility on your end, right? So that's also your relationship with responsibility. So this is also the reason why people who win the lottery, they throw it all away, because it doesn't feel safe in their body to hold it all. And if you continue with the pathway of, I will do it all on my own, journal, meditate, practice gratitude every day, you may experience like some minor shifts, right? But if you're looking for these huge changes, you really have to start with your subconscious, which is, you can see the bottom of the iceberg. 5% is only conscious. 5% is the things that you do every single day. So it's the reading books, it's the podcasts, it's the reading information. It's only 5%. The 95%, which is your core beliefs, your emotions, your long-term memory, this is what is governing your patterns. This is what is governing your life. Okay? So, how can we use neuromanifestation to change that, to rewire it, right? How to use it to manifest more money? Neuromanifestation really is just neuroscience backed, is manifestation backed with neuroscience. So, it really is just a rewiring of old neural networks. When we have billions of neurons in our brain, and when we create new neural networks is when we learn something new, when we think a new thought, when we set out a new pattern, these neural networks start to grow, and they start to sprout, and then they start to strengthen. And if you think that it's really hard for you to change a pattern, I can guarantee you that our brain is neuroplastic, and we can change anything that we decide to change, which is the beauty of it all. You are the programmer, you are also running the programs, but you're both. So we have the ability to change our life and our brain and our body, and you're not susceptible to your past, and you get to change it all. Okay, so we do that through also brain and body alignment, and I'll explain to you in a second what that means. Okay, so this is my framework, right? I'm giving it all to you today because I love you, and you also deserve to live an insanely amazing life. And yeah, here's my framework that I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on. So for free. Step one is bringing the unconscious to the conscious, right? What this means is that you are bringing things that are tucked in your 95%, your subconscious, into your conscious, right? It's like retrieving old long-term memory, and then you when you hash it in short-term memory, it brings it to your awareness. And when we do that, we allow ourselves to release pent-up energy. So I'll give you an example. When you were a child and you saw your parents fight around money, or maybe someone became really successful and then she died, like your aunt, for example, you create a story that is not safe to have money or X, Y, and Z, right? So maybe you didn't even realize that, but they were tucked in it's so deeply in your subconscious that that energy had nowhere to go, because energy doesn't just disappear. If you feel trauma, if you feel shame, fear, sadness, guilt, anger, that all, and we don't process it, we don't actually allow it to move in and out. And a lot of society suppresses, we hold it in, kind of like sucking that energy, or like that drink bottle, we just keep holding our container in full of that energy. It will start to create a huge impact on us. So bringing the unconscious to the conscious, right? Rewiring, then step two, rewire the misunderstanding that was in the conscious. So releasing this all, releasing it out of the body, changing your perception around money, around your business, around your career, around the life that you want to create. Because I'll give you an example. If you think about your first ever breakup, your first ever boyfriend, and you look back on it now, maybe you ask yourself, what were you thinking? But at the time, it made utmost sense to you. that is the change of the perception that you had from then and now. So you can do this with literally everything in your life. And everyone walking around has 8 billion different perceptions of you. And so if you change the perception of a story that's living in your body, in your brain, that is when we can now move into step 3. Okay. We can now set, it's like, say you have a monetary goal in your brain, or there is a distinct goal that you have, like, I want to work 10 hours, or I want to retire my, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say retire my husband, but please don't do that. Or your goal is to make $1 million, or be the first millionaire in your family, or whatever your goal is. But your body, on the other hand, which is also your subconscious mind, is an absolute interference, absolute disagreement with what your brain wants. You're never going to get it, right? So it's about getting your brain and your body aligned in harmony in the thing that you want. And that's when it will all come together. Okay. And so then in step 4, and I'm going to touch on in step 3 as well, when these are not in alignment, you will start to experience symptoms like procrastination, being late to things, so that if you're late to something, then you couldn't be successful at something. If you were not successful at something, then you're at least safe in not being successful, because that's all you've ever known. Okay. So people pleasing, over delivering, burning yourself out, that is all symptoms of a misalignment in your brain and your body. Okay, so then in step 4, we're going to really install new pathways in the brain, create new neural networks, that is basically what manifestation is, using neuroscience, creating new neural networks in the brain that are in accordance to what you want. Okay, that is it. Super, super simple, but also sounds very complicated. I get it. Okay. And that's where I really come in, and that's where I will guide you step by step on how to do that. Okay. I'm showing you this diagram of a brain here because your brain has more neural networks than there are stars in the galaxy. Billions, 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 right? And our brain is neuroplastic, and so the beauty of it is we get to create new ones, and they look like roots of trees, so they grow. So when you think a new thought, they actually start to grow. Imagine the wires just growing itself. It's honestly spectacular. And we have a left brain and a right brain. The left brain typically focuses a lot on logic. So I like to call this the masculine energy mind. Logic, structure, and then we've got the right brain, which is more on the creative side. I like to call this the feminine energy, feminine brain structure. So a lot of us are living in our left brain hemisphere and running on this left brain autopilot because of our society. Okay, and we want to kind of allow the right brain, which is the emotions, and just allow us to feel, to also be not overpowering, but kind of in harmony, equilibrium. Everything's all in life is about balance. Now, this is a really beautiful diagram of what happens when we are in brain and body alignment. So this is also backed by science, where there are machines that show us what happens when our heart, which has an electromagnetic field, is really, really powerful, and our brain and our body is in alignment. It expands this electromagnetic field of up to 3 feet. So you can feel someone's energy. You can feel when someone walks into a room. You can feel when you really like someone and you can't explain why, and you can just really feel how happy they are. This all energy is not, there's you can't see it, but it's there. Okay, I'm going to explain it in the next diagram a little bit more. So here we've got the map of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. He is the author of one of my favorite books, and also a previous psychiatrist who wrote the book Letting Go, and also the map of consciousness. He has written multiple books that are incredible, and I would highly recommend you check them out. But here we have a piece of some of the work that I do as well, which is looking at most humans where we lie on the scale of 200 to 175. So courage and pride. The baseline of humanity is at 200 175. Now, we all experience all these different emotions, right? We're human. But the problem becomes when we live in a state of shame, and when we carry a lot of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, and anger in the body, and we attract more of that to us. Maybe you've ever heard people talk about, I really like your energy, I love your vibe, I love the energy of this place. This is what it means. This is the scale of how something resonates, of how something vibrates at. I know when I was living in more anger, I was attracting really, really horrible situations to my life all the time. Like I was constantly fighting with my family. Like I was getting fines all the time. I was heartbroken all the time. I was crying every single night. I would fight with literally everything that moved. So yeah, I used to live a completely different life. And what I want you to understand is that we do move up and down the scale because we feel different emotions. But it's our ability to bounce back, right? It's our ability to feel them, release them, and then move up and down. And as we start to release, it's like we've been carrying this backpack of bricks all our lives, and this work is really just releasing the bricks. And as we keep releasing, we start to move up the scale, and our baseline starts to become more into neutrality, willingness, acceptance. We all want to feel love, joy, and peace. Okay? So the reason why I'm showing you this map of consciousness is so you can have a better understanding of how important your emotions are in the play of your life and the things that you want. Okay, cool. So I want to share with you one of my clients, Sarah, because maybe you think that you already know a lot about psychology and the subconscious mind, and so did Sarah. She thought she knew, because the truth is she has been studying psychology and subconscious for the last 10 years. She has a marketing consultancy, a very successful marketing consultancy, where she talks about subconscious marketing, right? And she ran it for the last 10 years. And when she came to me, she was very burnt out, working 40 to 50 hours a week, wearing all the hats in her business. But she had never changed her life so significantly until our first session together. So I just want to show you what she had to say.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself and tell me where you were before you started this program, and what were some of your biggest challenges or problems at that time?
Okay. My name is Sarah. I'm currently a consultant in the direct-to-consumer industry for e-commerce. I do a lot of psychology work, which is really interesting. So I came in with a decent amount of knowledge about what I thought was going to happen, which I was pleasantly surprised that it was way more than that. So that's great. I was struggling with all kinds of different things, honestly. Burnout probably being the biggest one. That was the physical manifestation. I had a very, very successful consultancy that was taking me 40 to 50 hours a week to manage. I was making decent money, but it was never consistent, never ever consistent. And I was doing everything. I was all of the hacks, all the content, all of my books, all of the interior stuff for my clients, trying to get people onboarded, doing the actual work. Then I was going back and doing all of the administrative stuff, all of my taxes, everything for any part of the business was on me. And I was doing all of this in 40, 50 hours a week on top of trying to manage 2 little kids at home. So I had a 6-year-old and an almost 4-year-old, and I was like momming in pockets of like trying to do this work at the same time. And I was so burnt out. I was just like disgusted with myself. I was so mad about where my life had ended up. So I was so done when we first met, and I'm sure you knew. I'm sure you could tell.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I yes, but not to that extent. Like, thank you for sharing that. So, considering where you were now, where you were, and all the like super mom that you've been, and whole like literally doing all of that, what has been some of the biggest breakthroughs that you've had? Or what are the most positive changes that you've seen in your life thus far?
Yeah.
Through the work together?
it was really interesting because when we first started working together, I was skeptical, very skeptical, because I was just like, I don't know. I've heard a lot about like manifestation and understanding like your deep core feelings and those type of things many, many times, which now 100%, I think they're very misconstrued in culture. I don't think people actually understand what manifestation means.
Yeah.
But as we started working together and I started uncovering all these very strange, very deep subconscious things that I had buried down there for a very, very long time, I finally started to understand how they were connected to some of the weird behaviors that I have or had in my life, right? So I had these very big beliefs that I needed to make enough money to retire my husband and like be the biggest person in this particular industry and like make a name for myself, become famous and be a multimillionaire. Like I had all these very strange attachments to different concepts that are pretty common, but they all kind of stem down to like three or four core, very emotional experiences in my childhood that
Yeah.
you help process out. So I think one of the biggest things that I took away from it was sometimes I don't know why I do things, especially things that are habitual and damaging to myself, right? Or not as healthy as they could be. And I finally figured out that a lot of it is trapped emotion, at least trapped emotion somewhere in the body, which I didn't ever want to touch for the longest time because I'm a very logical thinker, very straightforward, like A player. I'm very like, determined towards things, which is a good trait to have, but a lot of it was manifesting oddly because I had these trapped emotions. So that was super helpful. Processing those out was massive for me, massive.
And since processing them, what has come about? Like, tell me about the things that you've seen shift. Because I know, but I'd love to know like what was the biggest, and all of them really, all of the shifts that you've made.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So some of the things that manifested pretty early on. One of the things I wanted to do was retire my husband. And within the first couple sessions with you, I ended up quitting my job entirely, just shutting it down for all of December. And within about 2 weeks, my husband came back and he was like, "So things are switching around at my job, and they're kind of changing how our benefits work, and we're actually getting a whole lot of like basically what they call RSUs, so they're stock options that's going to help me retire by 50." And I was like, "What? I've been trying to retire you for 10 years, and you're telling me 2 weeks in now." He's like, "It's fine. I'm going to retire exactly when I wanted to retire." I'm like, "I'm going to die." Secondary to that, my mom was kind of coming in and helping with my business because she's an accountant, so she was doing a whole lot of my like tax prep stuff, and I was paying her $500 a month, and it was kind of a big expense, and I didn't want to.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on. I'll leave the link of the video if you wanted to continue watching it, but it's definitely worth a watch, right? Okay.
Give that piece up, take care of her. I really wanted to give her this opportunity to together with you. My mom came back and was like,
Okay. So then we've got Martha's story, and you may be thinking as well that maybe you need another business coach or another mastermind or another course or more information that will solve your issue. Well, here's my client Martha, who she hired me after we've been in the same mastermind together and we weren't happy with the results. She ended up getting significantly better results in my container rather than investing in a 15K group program or group mastermind. Right at the start, when she came to me, she was really burnt out in her business, feeling very exhausted. She was healing through a very toxic breakup. She was exhausted. With a lack of self-esteem, and now she's making and she was also making around 12 to 14K a month in her business. So
And
that's
you're amazing, Renee, and thank you so much. Like, truly, I tell everyone about you. Like, people ask me what are some of the things that I do to like stay balanced when I'm traveling, and how are you? Like, you seem so chill. I get this now. I never got it before, but like, you seem so chill, or you seem so confident, right? And I'm like, yeah, like I wasn't always. I usually say that to people. Like, it's been an evolution, and I'm just so grateful for your continued support and our work together. And just allowing me to access that part of myself. Like, so happy, and I'm so grateful for you. You're amazing. Like, I want to tell the world about you. I love you. I love you too. Okay, so before I started working with you, I had my marketing agency where I was serving a lot of clients and creating a lot of success for their businesses, primarily e-commerce brands, but also nonprofits, and even coaching some individual founders. And what ended up happening though is I was really sabotaging myself. Like, I would get into these situations with clients, for instance, where I would overgive and overdeliver and do it in such a way that it became a pattern and that the clients would expect it, and I would burn myself out. So, here I was kind of living a life that didn't feel right to me, hadn't felt right for a while, on the verge of burnout, with a lot of these client relationships, being really hard on myself and really looking down on myself because I had spent so long in this dynamic in a relationship that was really undercutting me and kind of causing me to question a lot of things about myself. I'd also invested in multiple other coaching containers prior to this point. I know you know which ones some of those are, and a lot of them were really helpful. I'm a huge fan of coaching, and I'm a huge fan of investing in yourself, and yet there was still this really big void that I was feeling that I couldn't quite. It was like the itch you can't scratch. And so that's really where I was when I found you.
Yeah.
So where I am now is I'm on track for a 50K month in January, which would be my biggest month since my business kind of had that peak and valley moment in 2022 in a way that allows me to, again, look back at the end of the day, not falling into bed exhausted and waking up, exhausted and kind of like pulling myself out of bed after hitting snooze 4 times, but really just feeling like I'm creating sustainable income, and I'm more than that, I'm helping people, right? And that also was something that kind of shifted from I have to get more clients to how many people can I help and who can I really show up for today. As far as my life, I started traveling at the end of last year, around the same time we worked together. Actually, I took a leap, and as you know, I went to Costa Rica for about a month and loved it and had so many incredible experiences there, and just really transformed while I was there. Kind of like it felt like I hit a new level with my nervous system, and still something wasn't quite right. Costa Rica didn't feel like the place for me, so I came back. I had about a month in Colorado again, and then I decided to just really take a leap and book a one-way flight to Europe. And so I went to Portugal. I landed in Paris, which is one of my most favorite cities. We were working together the entire time, and so I felt really held by that, and chatting with you and just, sharing what came up. I even got super triggered, I remember, like one night, and I was like, I can't do this. And you really just like held the space, which was so cool. But yeah, so then I just kept traveling, and along the way I met an incredible guy, and really didn't expect that at all. But we've been seeing each other for the last couple of months, and went to Egypt together. I learned how to scuba dive. So kind of like within my own travels, I really accessed a lot of new aspects of my life, my whole life, in addition to the business that I've been building for the last several years. So it's felt really special to be able to have those things and also scale my business. And truly, I feel like I am in many ways a completely different person. Like my body has changed. One thing we didn't talk about yet is over the last 2 to almost 3 years, basically since I started scaling in my business and building the agency the way that I thought I should build it, which is like this traditional masculine model, I began having a lot of gut issues, and was trying to kind of cure those with all these.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's 90% better from where it was. Like my body looks the best it ever has. I actually look back at photos of myself about a year ago, and I'm like, I feel sad for that person, not in a victim sense, but more just in a reflection of, I see the pain that person was in, and I now see why and how I had to experience those things to be able to now be at the place I am now.
Amazing. So now that you've learned how neuromanifestation is going to be the best way to solve your problem in your business, in allowing you to really relax more and to still make the money that you want while giving you more time freedom, absolute inner peace, clarity, direction, and you want to learn how to exactly apply this framework to yourself, to your business, provided that you have been in the industry for a little while now, and you're serious about really making money with ease and scaling with ease and flow, because that's why we started our business to begin with, for freedom, right? So then go ahead and click the link in the description, please, to book a call with myself or my team, and we'll show you exactly how you can use neuromanifestation to change your business as well. So go ahead and click the link below in the description and book a call. I'm so excited to talk to you. So I just want you to really imagine yourself waking up on a Wednesday, booking a flight to Mexico, or being able to spend time with your kids, allow yourself to go shopping whenever you want, buying that luxury item, and then just opening your phone to see potential clients emailing you, DMing you, and just flooding to you without you even having to do it much, right? Just like how Sarah was able to go from working 40 to 50 hours a week to now working 10 hours a week. And she made 13K that month that we had that chat, right? Which was this month. This or February. And just like how Martha is making 39K or projected 50K a month, traveling the world. She met a new partner, even though she was in a toxic relationship. Like, she was going through a toxic breakup. So things can change very, very fast. And I want to move on now. So here's where we can go from here. So let's say reality one, or path number one, you take the information that I've given you today, you try it out for yourself, invest time into testing, trying and figuring out how to reprogram your subconscious mind, and never actually know what is in your subconscious, because guess what? I try to do it myself, and it's so hidden. It's your blind spots. That's why you need someone to shine it to you and continuously be blindsided. Or we can choose path number two, reality two, where your second option really is to hop on a call, book a call with myself and my team, and really determine how to shortcut your success and just get you insane results really, really quickly. And I'm just so excited for you, and I'm so thankful for you investing your time today to watch this video. And I really just want you to acknowledge yourself for being here, for showing up for yourself, for trying even when things feel really hard, and encourage you to book a call with my team. Just let's have a chat. Let's see how we can best support you to making your life just streamline, easier, more fulfilling, more peaceful, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. All right, my love, sending you kisses, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.